Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Contractor Radio. I'm your host, Jim Johnson, the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro, where we help contractors get control of their business through learning how to be better leaders so that they can grow their business. And hopefully, if we do everything right, achieve some personal and financial freedom, which is why we start one of our businesses in the first place. If that sounds like something you want to do, you can go to our website, contractorcoachpro.com, click on the assessment button, take our 15 to 20 minute assessment. It's a real, not some kind of sales tool. From that assessment, we're going to learn a lot about you. And if you fill it out and complete it, set up a time with us. We'll do a free coaching call with you. It won't cost you anything, so you can see what coaching is like. If you like it and want to be our client, that's wonderful. If not, at least we've provided you some value that day and given you some guidance on maybe the 2 or 3 things that you need to take as next steps in your business to move the needle a little bit and grow a little bit more. I am pumped for today. I have a guest that was, I don't know about you guys, like listeners, if you know kind of how this whole podcast thing works, but at some point you start kind of running out of people that you know. I do have people that get referred to me. I do ask my guests, like, if you know somebody that you think would be a great guest on my show. And so I pick up a lot of my guests that way. But there's also this group of people out there that's always sending like, hey, this person would be a great person to have on your podcast. And I tend to go do a bit of research, like, hey, are they really or are they not? And most of them, like 95%, I kind of blow off, to be honest with you. But I checked into this guy, found out a little bit about him. That's LinkedIn's a valuable thing. Facebook is also valuable. I also got some good information from the podcast facilitator, and I'm like, this guy's great. This guy has more to offer than just this thing that he does. And so I'm super pumped to bring him on. His name is Currie Gauvreau. He is with Honest Water Filter. He's the executive vice president, one of the owners. But really and truthfully, the thing that drew my attention to him is his passion for training and leadership. He was actually the director of training for Clockwork Home Services Success Academy, which has to do with more than just sales. There's leadership, culture. There's lots of training that goes on. If you guys don't know who Clockwork Home Services is, they're a $600 million company. We're going to learn a little bit more about that story as we have our guest. But I want to welcome our guest because we're going to talk about training. We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about culture. So you're going to want to stay tuned for this. Without further ado, let's bring on this rocket. Like, come on, it's trainer for a $600 million company. Let's take advantage of this opportunity today and learn a little bit from our guest, Currie Gauvreau. Currie, good to have you on board, man.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. I really am.
This is one of those things, like I was explaining, like I don't normally just have somebody I don't have some type of association with on the show, but your expertise and background was like, hey, this is a no-brainer. I got to have this guy on. So tell everybody a little bit of the story. Like, how did you get into the home services world and then work into this training aspect of things for the Success Academy at Clockwork Home Services? And maybe a little bit about who Clockwork Home Services is, because people might not know that name, but a bunch of the other names they might know.
Absolutely. So I'm a Marine and I'm a retired cop. And I started training in 1989. So I've been training people for 34 years. I was offered a position in 2013 with Clockwork Home Services as a trainer. And Clockwork Home Services, and I wasn't familiar with them either. I didn't realize how large they were. They actually own the franchises of 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, and Mr. Sparky Electric. And that was at the time when I was with them. And so I joined that team, and it was an amazing experience. I was able to do training and coaching, and it was incredibly fulfilling. My last year there, before I came to Honest Water, we did a little over $650 million in revenue.
Wow. That's a big number.
It's a big number. Yeah, it's a big number. We had a training team at one point. I think there was 14 or 15 of us. So it was a large training group. It was an intense group because we held ourselves to a very high standard. But the passion and the thrill of it was when you're able to do a training and have someone tell you, you changed my life.
Mm.
And I see that sign in the back behind you where it says, a good coach and will change your life. And if you're a good coach and a good trainer, you've had someone tell you that what you help them with changed their life. And that's what we're in this for, is to help people change their lives.
Yeah, you're there, right, and doing great things. If I had a person that was leading my training, I think a Marine and retired cop might be the right person. Like, there's gonna be a little bit of discipline, some structure to it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be
Yeah.
a lot of accountability to it, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
how'd you move from that into this, honest water filter, situation?
So the founder of Honest Water, his name is Eric Brockmeyer. He's been a plumber for 35 years. And when I was hired by Clockwork, Eric and I worked together. He was a vendor and a trainer. He was actually the VP of training for the organization that he was with. And I trained with him. He taught me how to train water treatment.
Wow.
And then one of the other executives at Honest Water is Chris Adams, and he's been a water treatment guy. And he and Eric worked together. I met both of them. The three of us just kind of hit it off. We share similar values, similar goals to helping people. And when Eric discovered this product, probably about 6 years ago, five or 6 years ago, and he brought it to me, I knew that it was a game changer. And so I was actually the first full-time employee at Honest Water as we grew this business, developed it. And now we have over 5,000 systems installed across the country. And we're growing exponentially, and we're very, very pleased and very blessed.
If people knew what was in the tap water they're drinking, they'd probably
Well,
stop.
that's true. That's true. And it's about education, right? I mean, everything is about education. People can use the Google and get misinformed when in reality they should be talking to a professional who will give them the real information.
Because I wanna talk about this a little, 'cause, health and wellness, fitness, that type of thing has kinda been a thing for me my whole entire life, and I look at all sides of it: nutrition, working out, your, mental health, like, all of those things are really important to me, and, water is confusing. Like, there's a million different things out there that this is the right thing, that's the right thing. And there's a million different filter systems. You can't
Sure.
water filtration companies, you can't shake a dead cat without hitting one, it seems like.
Right.
What makes what you guys do so different about, the process and why you got involved with it?
Well, we scaled it back to simplicity. We really felt that water treatment should not be confusing. And so we created a program that was very simple, because at the end of the day, if you are a contractor, let's say a plumber, and you own the company and you love a product, but your plumbers don't love the product, they're not going to sell any.
Right.
So we had to make a program. We knew we had a better product. That's been proven. We have the certifications. We know that. We had to create a program that could penetrate a plumbing organization or an HVAC organization and win the technicians, the plumbers, over. And so that's what we did. We simplified to the point where our systems simply remove the bad stuff. You don't change the chemistry.
Can we use that in the sales pitch? It just removes the bad stuff. Let's go.
And again, why not, right? Why not be simple? You mentioned, my background with military and law enforcement and everything. And one of the things that I like to tell people is I'm very direct and I'm very transparent. I like things to be simple because you screw up less when it's simple.
Yeah. I think good coaches, and good trainers have a knack for being able to take the complicated and make it simple.
Oh, you are preaching to the choir. That is exactly how I explain my approach. Is I want to take a concept and make it easily understood by anybody. And so
So,
with,
let's talk about the water for, like, what is the right thing for, because you hear reverse osmosis, you hear all the different things, and you're like, okay, am I taking out too much? Am I taking out good stuff too? Is it like that kind of thing? I don't think most people know,
right.
in a simplified version, how would we know that we're getting the right thing?
It's a great question. First, you have to determine what is your source. The majority of people are on municipal water. So me too, right? So at Honest Water, we direct our efforts towards municipal water. That's that low-hanging fruit. And what's really interesting about municipal water is we know what's in it, because every municipality has to provide a report every year. So what we do is we approach it addressing 3 areas of contamination: the physical contaminants, the chemical contaminants, and then the minerals, hard water. What happens is with water treatment in general, they tend to overcomplicate it. And that leads to a lot of misinformation and a lot of misunderstanding. With physicals, you need a filter that measures in microns. That's how you measure your level of filtration. With chemicals, you need carbon. And with minerals, all you need to do is stop the minerals from creating scale. That's it. So that's what our products do. But what's beautiful about Honest Water's products is we don't change the chemistry of the water at all. And we can work with other pieces of equipment. So we can be a standalone solution, or we can work alongside other pieces of equipment.
Yeah, the people that are wanting the reverse osmosis, negative ion, that kind of whatever it is out there that they believe in, you can actually work in line with. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. And I'm in agreement with you, because I want water, right? Like I just want good water coming out of my tap.
Right.
I don't want a bunch of scale messing up my pipes and those type of things. I learned more about microns in the last month or so than I ever thought I would, because I put in one of those cold plunge pools and I have a filter for it. So I had to hey, that's too few and it's catching everything and it's clogging it up. 20 microns was the needed thing for it.
Oh, wow. I love my ice bath.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
Oh, I love my ice bath.
Every morning it's a thing
Absolutely.
to do, because it kind of ramps me up and gets me going for the day.
And just to put some relevance, our standard entry-level product for the whole house is 5 mics. We actually have a pre-filter that it's an upgradable pre-filter that goes all the way down to 0.015 of a micron.
Wow. Okay.
And that's down to the viral.
That's kind of a little bitty stuff.
Yeah. But again, it's not changing chemistry. It's just removing bad stuff.
That's pretty cool. So that's neat stuff. If you guys want to talk to Currie about that, Currie, how do they get a hold of Honest Water Filtration? Because we're going to talk about adding a product here later to what we do. But how would they get a hold of you?
Well, our website is created to be a resource. So if you go to honestwaterfilter.com, you can learn all about our products. You can learn where our dealers are. You can watch videos. You can see our certifications. We are certified both by NSF and the state of California, which is important. But if you go there and you're interested in finding out more information, you can either reach me directly at Currie, Currie, at honestwaterfilter.com, or just submit your information on our website and we'll contact you. We'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. So let's talk about the stuff that actually makes the rubber hit the road, right? So we all got products. No matter what you do, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're a roofer, whatever it is that you do out there. For our listeners, we're home service contractors. And some of the things that I see that prevent home service contractors from achieving what their potential is, it tends to be in a leadership side of things, like not being skilled as a leader, and it's kind of pride that holds them back. If I'm going to be honest, that I got this, I'll figure it out. People want to work for me. Do they really? How long do they work for you? What is there drama in the business? So that kind of leads to this good leaders create great cultures aspect of things. What has your experience been like as you work with all of these different contractors? Do you see that like leadership is kind of the key to whether they turn out well or not? I really hate interrupting these videos, but I've got some important information for you. If you haven't tried out Atlas Shingles, you should, because they put you first as a contractor. They want to give you a competitive advantage out in the field so that you can win more sales and be more profitable. Check out Atlas in your local area, find your local rep, get hooked up with them today, and start making more money tomorrow.
Product leadership.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of crappy products that get sold a bunch of because they got great leaders.
Absolutely. I was asked a question at an interview a couple of months ago. What would make a product fail? And there's really three reasons why a product might fail. First of all, it's not a good product.
Lack of functionality.
It doesn't do what it says it's going to do. So let's put that aside. The second is you might have a good product, but it's not supported properly by the manufacturer or the team selling it. So whether it's marketing, training, technical support, that can make a program fail from the product perspective. But if you have a great product that does what it's supposed to do, and you have great support, marketing, training, and all of that, and it still isn't selling, it's leadership. It's a failure in leadership. Because I've been in those locations where that manager is firefighting every morning from 7 to 9, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I've been there where they're not exhibiting effective leadership behaviors. The first being role modeling the behavior that they expect from their team. That's the first rule of effective leadership.
I see so many with core values, and then the leader doesn't adhere to the core values.
Right. Yeah, those are good for everybody else.
Those are for everybody else.
Yeah. And you've seen it. I've seen it. I've traveled the country for years coaching leadership. And when someone achieves a position or a title or what have you, you mentioned ego a second ago. Ego insists that they want to be treated differently. And the reality is you should not want to be treated differently. If you're a true leader, you want to be treated the same as everyone else so that they can feel a part of what you're trying to achieve.
I could not agree more. They need to see you doing the things that you would want them to do.
Right.
I mean, if that's picking up a piece of garbage off of the ground and throwing it away instead of kicking it underneath the couch, it's the little things like that. And we kind of forget that as leaders, that we set this example every day. Do we bring energy in? Do we bring positivity in? Like if we bring that to the game, then our team's going to be that way. If we bring negativity, drama, chaos, crap like that into the game, well, guess what? That's what everybody else is going to be. Because the reality is they want to be you. They do. They're like, that's the example. This guy's successful. I want to be like that. So he acts like that. So I'm going to act like that.
Yeah. The definition of success is interesting though. Right.
Yeah.
So you said they want to be successful. What does that mean? Does it mean more money? Mean more prestige? What does that actually mean? I can't tell you how often I would be at a location doing a training and the leader's not in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what kind of example is that, right? I'm not your babysitter.
Yeah.
I'm here to provide information or what have you, knowledge. And then when I leave, who's going to back up and support the information that I gave your team if you're not in the room?
It's actually a requirement whenever I go in and do training, because I do leadership and sales training in a lot of organizations. I tell them part of the deal is you're there. You need to be there. You need, because I'm going to leave. You're going to need to support this. So that's awesome. Good, awesome advice. Where else do you see leaders fail?
Well, one of the things that, again, I talked about firefighting. And a great leader, well, actually, let me back up. If you take any MBA course and you take a management course, the first tenet of management is a manager will not do what can be delegated.
Yeah.
So the challenge,
I could be better at that one. That's one thing I could, like, if we're honest here, like, and I think a lot of people get trapped by it because they get trapped by this thing like, well, I know if I do it, it's going to get done right, or at least the way I want it to be done. If I give it to somebody else, will they do it that way? I've learned over the years that they might not do it exactly the same way. Sometimes it might actually be better, right?
There's no doubt.
And if it's not quite as good, at least it got done without taking my time away from doing the
Right.
things that are important for the business.
When I got promoted in law enforcement, I went to sergeant and I had a squad, and I was a high productivity police officer. I put a lot of people in jail.
I was going to say you wrote a lot of tickets, put people in jail.
Not a lot of tickets. I didn't write a
Okay.
lot of tickets. My job was to put bad guys in jail. Well, when I became a sergeant, I had to take a step back from that. I couldn't expect all 6 of my police officers to behave the way I behave. And it's the same thing in business. It's not about them being you. It's about them being them. And all of these individuals come together as a team to achieve that higher goal of the organization. And so, right?
There's that military thing. Like everybody understands the mission. If everybody
Correct.
understands the mission and why we're doing it and why it's important,
Right.
they will tend to make the right decisions if they're bought into it.
If you have a team working together, they might have less skills than another group, but they'll achieve more because they're working together. So in other words, a team is working together. A group is a bunch of individuals.
Ooh, that's really good. That's gold right there. Do you have a team or a group? That's
There you go.
very
Exactly.
different things.
And when you train or when you coach, you'll go into places and you'll see that one superstar who's treated like a superstar.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's not a team. That's a group.
Yeah, I would agree. I see that too much in some of these businesses that are out there that they're almost held hostage by that superstar.
Happens all the time. And it's a little depressing actually, but more often than not, when that superstar moves on, whether voluntarily or not, others in that group become a team and they raise their game.
Yeah.
And now that leader has a team that individually has raised their game. So now the whole team has raised their game and he's not stressed out half as much.
Best thing I ever did was fire a $2.5 million sales guy. He was our top guy.
Yeah, because he was toxic.
He was absolutely toxic for the culture. Didn't follow processes. Didn't follow. It made work harder for everybody else.
Yeah.
And when I fired him, it was like within seconds I got a text message. Did you let this guy go? I went, yeah. They're like, thank you.
Yeah.
And we sold more than we ever sold before.
Right.
He was actually holding us back, not taking us to where we needed to go. You can't rely on one person. And we do a lot of sales training. We teach this concept of staying off the pedestal. The second you step up on that pedestal, you're done. We already know it. We might as well just get rid of you at that point.
You mentioned it earlier. It's ego.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge you have is when someone starts to perform at a higher level and they start getting accolades. It's human nature to start thinking, I am this good. Right?
I'm a badass.
Yeah, exactly. And they start to be a separatist. When in reality, you want that person to share what it is they're doing so the rest of the team can then up their game.
Right.
That's the challenge.
Yeah, we teach a concept called humility over hype. Stay humble. Don't forget where you came from. Don't listen to all the press clippings, right? Like that's the first sign of you going downhill when you start believing what everybody's saying about you.
Right. I created a leadership program. It's a 2-day leadership program called Intentional Leadership. And the basic premise is what we were just talking about. It's having leaders understand that it's okay to be humble. It's okay to be vulnerable. And it's okay to communicate, even though you're a guy. You can sit down with another guy and tell him how you feel, and nobody's going to think less of you. And that's the first step to leadership, because all of a sudden you start viewing things through a different lens.
Yeah, you'll actually connect with them. They'll be like, oh, so he's not perfect either. So
right.
Now we can talk.
Absolutely. I mean, how many times have you seen a leader apologize to their group because of their behavior or their decision or what have you? And they say, hey, look, you know what? I thought this was the right decision, and I want to let you know that it wasn't. They admit they're wrong. That's a major step.
We call that falling on the grenade.
Whatever
it's
it
like,
takes.
hey, I'll take the hit. I made the decision. We went after it. It didn't work out. Unfortunately, Jim Johnson falls on the grenade a lot. I make a lot of decisions. They don't always work out, but I always own it too. Like, hey, this is There's a lot of really good content out there, like extreme ownership, and what Jocko does with that.
Yeah.
And he comes from that military background,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is that something that was instilled into you really in the military more than in our world? Oh,
Believe it
you
or not,
broke
it
up
was
there for a second.
sport. Oh yeah, I lost you for a sec, but it was
Oh,
sports.
okay.
So
What'd you
I
play?
played sports. Well, I played football in college, and I play hockey, and
What position in
I've played
football?
those. It's a funny story. I was recruited as a defensive back, and I show up all 5'10", 155 pounds of me, and within 30 minutes, the coach walked over, tapped me on the helmet, and went, "You're a wide receiver now."
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. I asked that question because I made some assumptions that we were about the same build, same height, that type of thing. I'm like, okay, he's either a defensive back or a receiver because
Yeah,
that's what I played in high school. Like,
yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely,
and
yeah.
it was like, okay, you're gonna play defensive back, and we want you there, but when we're on offense, I need you at receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. So I played sports, but when I was very young, probably eighth grade is when I first put the tool belt on. I was an electrician with the family business. And I learned some amazing lessons there about working hard, taking pride in what you do, taking a little extra time to make it perfect. And I took that into sports. And then that I learned how to work in a group dynamic as a team. I was just talking with one of my sons last night. We were watching the replay of a football game and watching these guys celebrate. And I told him, I said, of all the years I played football, I never once celebrated a touchdown because that was my job.
Hand the football to the ref and run
Hand
back
the
to
football to the ref, high five my teammate, and go with that. Go to the sideline.
Yep.
And that's how I approach work. That's how I approach my career, our professions. Is we have a job to do, and you want to do it, and when you do it, you congratulate yourself, and you move on to the next thing, whatever that is. And so when you're hiring people, you want to look for guys like that who understand the team, who understand humility, who understand that they do have something to learn, and all of those things, and they work together. And that's when you start to see your revenue go up.
So we covered a lot about leadership, humility, setting an example, creating a team instead of a group. I think those were all like big golden nuggets for guys listening in. Let's talk a little bit about the value of training. You've trained a lot of people, and it sounds like you've trained them in more than just sales, like leadership, sales, maybe even work product. I don't know, but why do you believe training to be as valuable as it is?
So first, my background is kind of interesting because not only have I been training, but I've also been teaching. Two different things.
Very much so.
But adult learning doesn't change. So when you're talking about adult learning, you have to understand that your approach is directly affecting the result that you want. What I have found in the last 10 years that I've been in the residential service industry is that a lot of owners and leaders think they're checking the box by holding a training rather than actually understanding what you're trying to achieve in a training. The purpose of training is to change behavior. That's the purpose, right? And I use a little nugget that I'm going to give you now in most of my trainings. Have you ever heard of the term knowledge is power?
Oh yeah. That's one of my
What would
favorites.
you say if I
And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I'd like to talk about that if that's okay with you.
It's not. Knowledge is not power.
Oh, I want to hear this. This is going to be good.
Knowledge is potential power. But if you don't use that knowledge and implement it in a different behavior, how are you powerful? If you sit in a class, whether it's a 1 hour, 1 day, or a whole semester, and you gain all of this information and you do nothing with it, how is that powerful?
So along those same lines, I think a lot of people gain knowledge. and they gain it in a variety of different ways. They can Google search, read something, watch a YouTube, come to a talk or presentation, some kind of conference, that type of thing.
Sure.
And they gain this knowledge, but do they actually understand it? Like, that's a key point. Like, hey, I just got a bunch of information into me. Did I understand that thing? Because if you don't understand it, you can't then apply it.
That's
And
true.
so I always look at that like, hey, I want to share this knowledge with you. I look at that as like teaching. You're teaching somebody this knowledge.
Right.
Then you want to get them to have some understanding. So that's reinforcement, depth, those type of things, which good teachers do.
Mhm.
But that's also coaching. That's
It is
also
coaching.
the coaching aspect of things,
Yes.
making sure that what you taught they understand, because if they understand it, then they have power to change that behavior. If they don't understand what it is you just talked about
Yeah.
and how to apply it, it's not going to go very far. You can see it in conferences, especially. You go to conference, you spend a bunch of money,
Yeah.
your entry, your hotel room, your flights, and all the other stuff. You go there, you take a crap ton of notes,
Right.
you get back and you shove it in a drawer and you never look at it again.
That's exactly right.
You got the knowledge, but you got zero understanding.
Well, so if you don't mind, I'll ask you a question. What do you think the difference between and why people call themselves coaches and don't call themselves trainers? Why do people prefer the term coach?
Sounds cooler. Just like if you get down to it, it seems like it carries more weight. A trainer is like a one time, where a coach is like that guy that's there to raise your game.
Okay.
I look at it as like, okay, a trainer is providing me information, and I'll put it in the sports world. Like, I have a trainer
Right.
that I go to do my workouts, gain strength, do those type of things, right? And they're repeating and building off of something as your trainer. The coach is the one that actually applies the understanding and overall strategy and mission to the whole thing, so that you see where you fit in it, brings out and amplifies your
Right.
talents, minimizes your weaknesses, and understands your role in the team, so that the whole team can accomplish their thing. I think coaches are more along on that line.
That's really well said. Well done. I commend you. Trainer is below coach, and here's why. A trainer will give information about a particular topic, and they may have a style, they may incorporate some adult learning techniques and whatnot. But a coach is significantly higher than that, because they're incorporating not only the information that they're trying to give to the people, but they're also incorporating a wider range of psychological elements,
Mhm.
emotional elements, and practical elements, meaning how is this going to help you in the real world today to make more money or to do a better job? So a coach can sit there and help you individually, because they're taking into account your background, your mood, your knowledge base, your intellect, your emotional, level, what you do for a living, and how the information can interact with how you do things. So a coach is a much higher level of helper.
Yeah, I look at it like this. I play for a sports team, whatever it is, and I need to get bigger and I need to get faster. Trainer goes, okay, these are the things we need to do to get bigger and faster. The coach is talking to the same player and saying, this is why you need to get bigger and faster. This is how it will pay out. He connects the dots between the effort and the discipline with the
Mhm.
result.
Yeah.
And if you understand those two things and how they work together, the coach will then start to build off of it. He'll take that foundation and he'll start to apply it in different ways than just the physical part of it.
Right.
It'll play out in the strategy and execution part of it.
Yeah, a great, or at least for me in my life, an analogy that comes to mind is I teach at a couple of universities, and I've taught for many years, and there are people that I teach with who were or are what we call practitioners. So in other words, I'm a criminologist. That's what my master's degree is in, but I was a cop for 2 decades. So I'm a practitioner because I've done it. There are other professors who are academics. They read books, they've attended classes, they have a doctoral degree or what have you,
Yeah, I
but
want to
they're
learn
not a
from you.
practitioner, right? So if you're taking a class, who would you want to learn from?
I got a gnat in here. Sorry about
Oh,
that. Like, you can't see it. Nobody can see it, but
no,
it's
we
just
can't
right
see.
in front of
It
my
just
face.
looked like you were doing the.
It's like, oh man. My podcasts are always fun. So I think that was really key. I hope the listeners like picked up on that. Training is one thing, like that's the passing of information to somebody else. And hopefully if you do your training right, even building upon those fundamentals, adding more skill over time.
Right.
But that coach pulls those skills out and applies them to the real world that benefits you.
And it's individually based, right? So
Yeah.
like you're not going to coach one guy the exact same you'd coach another one.
No.
You know, we have at Honest Water, we have a coaching program called Water Dominance. The only difference between how we train our technicians when they learn about our product and the coaching of Water Dominance is it's one-on-one, and we talk and learn about that particular technician and understand where they're excelling and where they're deficient, and we tailor make the solution of learning for them. And that's the difference.
Man, I'm on board with you on that one. I believe, and timing of this can vary based on what it is you do and resources you have available to us. But I always like to do a review with my guys once a month. I would sit down with everybody. Hey, this is what looks like it's going well. This looks like it's struggling. How about you? How do you feel about how we're helping you and what we're doing at what I'm doing as a leader? It seems like if we could move the needle in these two areas right here, that would make a big difference in the result that you get and your growth here at this company. Let's put an action plan together. Let's focus on that action plan and just focus on it for this month. Let's go nail that thing and get that done.
Right.
And give them the resources to be successful with it. I think so few people do that. Building off of where they're at and then pinpointing those things that could move the needle for them, and not focused on their weaknesses. Usually, focus more on their strengths, like the thing they're strong at. How could you make them better at it?
Right.
Do you see that much in what you do?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You just hit on something that is very interesting. I read a white paper by a leadership organization, and what they talked about was how most people look at someone and their performance, and they want to address where they're deficient. And what we should be doing is focusing on where they're strong and making that even stronger.
100% agree.
It's really interesting, right? So if you have someone at your organization who just crushes X, whatever that is, maybe we focus on that rather than spreading them thinner, trying to bring this area of their work or what have you up. How about we help them get that so that they're a leader in the field on that particular thing because they have a knack for it. And so it's just a different way to approach stuff.
It's funny when you find the support, and I tend to lean towards salespeople on this. There's salespeople are just they're a mess. There's all different kinds of them. They all do different things.
Right.
But when you got that guy that can just close, that's just what he does. He's good at it. And why do you have him doing all the other stuff? We can get support people around him. I need him in front of people.
Yeah.
And let's get him doing what he's doing best all the time, instead of, okay, he's got to fill out this piece of paperwork, or he's got to write this estimate up, or he's got to go generate his own leads. Like we got people for that.
Right.
And we'll end up generating more profit that way than by trying to force him into doing something that he's not great at.
Absolutely.
As long as it fits your culture.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, look, let's face it. There are going to be people in the residential service industry who just want to be mechanics. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how their DNA is. They got into the field to fix stuff.
Yeah. So how do we make you the best?
Right. So let's make you the best mechanic that we can make, so that when we have something that stumps everybody, we get to call Joe because we know Joe will fix it.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Oh, here I am interrupting you again, but this is an important message you do not want to miss, because it's about AI in sales. Could you imagine having every sales call recorded, analyzed, tell you what's winning, share it with everybody else so they can start winning? Everybody's closing percentages go through the roof. If you haven't heard of Rilla Voice, you need to. Go check out Rilla today in the comments below. So we've talked about leadership. We've talked about training. Those two things all are a part of the environment that you're in. And a decision, really. It's a decision by that leadership to create an environment. And I always think of that environment as your culture. If you don't have some intentionality towards that culture and what you want it to be,
Right.
you're going to have one regardless. It may be one you don't like very much.
Yeah.
Where do you see people trip up in that part? Because you see a lot of people do work on it. It's a big buzzword right now. Oh, got to have a great culture, and we're a family culture, and we got our core values up on the wall and all that. But I see that they don't get a lot of traction with it. It's there, but they don't implement real well. Have you seen much of that?
Yeah. There's so many of us out there, right? Experts. I mean, look.
Used to not be. When I started there was nobody else, and then all of a sudden there's a million of them.
And so what you find is that going back to the very beginning, it's kind of like water treatment. There's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of misunderstanding of how to be a successful leader or how to grow your company through training and leadership. I will say this: the most productive, successful organizations that I have seen, the leader had amazing relationships with the team, and the team would do anything for that leader. It's not about the work. It's about the relationship, right? It's not about what you do. It's about who you do it with. And if you enjoy who you do it with, you're going to do it better.
That's really good. You hear a lot of times, well, you got to separate business. If I got people working for me, I got to separate myself from them because I lead them. I disagree with that. I've made it a practice, like with my team. I'm like, hey guys, let's all have lunch together on Friday. Let's go. Let's hang out. Let's not even talk about work. Let's just talk about what's happening in your families and your lives and stuff like that. I want to know you better. And over the years, what I kind of figured out more from observation than anything else, there was these like key components that all played a part in connecting. I think it's the superpower of a leader. I think it's the absolute superpower. If I can connect with my people,
well said, yeah,
and connect with them in a way that they see the benefit for them, the benefit for me will be a byproduct, which I'm good with. I like the byproduct more than the actual full out effort about me, right? And I think so many people miss that piece. How about you?
No, you're right. You're right. So two things. Number one, I learned very quickly as a leader that an unselfish leader will get incredible results because the team knows that he is supporting them, right? I had an amazing leader when I was working at Clockwork. He was our VP over our group. And one of the things that he focused on was promoting his team members to the rest of the organization, right? So he would put us, and it would challenge us because let's face it, humans don't like change. It makes you uncomfortable, and he would challenge us constantly. And to this day, every single person who was on that high producing team will say, I never had as much fun and I never worked so hard.
Yeah.
And it's because
we like it.
Yeah. He didn't say, look at me, look at my team. Look at me, look at what I'm doing with my team. He said, look at my team and look at what they're doing. Because by default, everybody knew it was his team. So he reaped the rewards anyway, but it put us out there. And believe it or not, we grew as professionals because of that. And that's what leaders need to do, be unselfish.
Yeah, everybody wants a spotlight shined on them. And funny enough, if you're telling everybody you're a leader or a coach or a trainer or any of those things, if you're telling everybody that you're some kind of guru, you're probably not.
You're probably not.
It's usually everybody else saying that about you.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest. I never intended to be this thing that we are here.
And it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. It doesn't just happen like you change your title and all of a sudden everybody respects you. It doesn't work that way.
A lot of work.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It's your behavior that everybody will evaluate you by. And if your behavior shows them that you're unselfish, you support them, you're humble, and you're open to communication, you are going to be successful, period, no matter what field you're in.
So I got one last question for you. How much time should an individual spend training so that they can perform well?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one because it really depends on what area you're training on, right? So, are you talking about technical stuff or are you talking about soft skill stuff? Are you talking
Well,
about, you know,
I'd like to hear both. Like technical stuff and soft skills are very different things.
right?
But I'd like to hear what your opinion is on those.
So, I can't tell you how much. What I can tell you is it has to be consistent. Your intellect and your chemistry and your background, your values, they all affect how well you learn. So I can't give you time because everybody's a little different. But soft skills, you have to practice them. You
Yep.
have to you can never learn enough about how to be an effective communicator. You
Yeah.
can't.
I would agree with that a million
You
times
just can't,
over.
right? Can you learn everything there is to know about toilets? Maybe. I think that's possible, right? I think that you could, and I'll give you a great example. Our CEO has been a plumber for 35 years. I've known him for 10 or 11 years. He thrives when a technician or a plumber calls him and they're stumped. And he thrives because of his experience, and he's an intellectual and he loves the challenge, right? So there are different areas that you want to practice, but it's about consistency and not hours.
Yeah. So I always like the technical side of things, like how you install something, the product knowledge, those type of things. I can learn them and become an expert in them. It doesn't take much effort on top of that to stay on top of it, right?
Right.
Where the soft skills, on the other hand, whether you're a salesperson, a leader, those types of roles, you're always learning. Those are personal growth
They really
aspects of
are.
things, and there's not a destination. You don't one day go, "Hey, I'm the best leader that's ever walked
Nope.
this planet,"
It's a
and you
journey.
don't say I'm the best salesperson.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's a journey. I used to tell our boys, we have two sons and they were both athletes and they were in incredible shape going through high school and into college. And I told them, this is what you have to look forward to. So it's a lot easier to stay in shape than it is to get in shape. So to
Tell
your
me about
point,
it.
right? When you know stuff, you got to keep practicing or it gets rusty. But
Right.
on the soft skill stuff, but by the way, leadership is soft skills.
Yeah,
You
for sure.
and you said it perfectly. There is no destination for leadership. It's just where your journey takes you and where you are in your journey. So you have to be consistent when you're trying to improve anything.
Yeah, I use another sports analogy, and really anything that's competitive. So I don't care if you're in band,
Yeah,
like somebody sat first chair,
right.
somebody's the quarterback, somebody's the shortstop. They're like somebody is that person,
Right.
and more than likely the reason they are is because they practiced more, and
Yeah.
it wasn't just at practice. Like
No.
everybody shows up for that because it's a requirement. It's
Yeah.
the one that goes above and beyond and does the practice on their own.
That's true. But I want to throw something else in there that a lot of people overlook. Attitude.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because I want you to think about something. Have you ever seen videos of animals where a smaller animal was bullying a bigger animal?
Yeah, my wife has a dog like that.
What's the reason that smaller animal can bully that bigger animal? Their
All about
attitude.
they believe they can.
They believe that they can. So what I like to coach, especially with technicians and guys who are out there doing the job, is you have to have a quiet confidence that you're always improving. I tell people all the time, you don't have to be perfect. You have to be better than yesterday.
Yeah, I've
And
installed this thing 100 times. On 101, it's gonna be a little better than the last one.
it's all you just have to be a little bit better, and always striving to be better will make you better.
Yeah. I try to dedicate an hour a day, every day to personal growth.
Yeah.
I'm far enough along in my journey that I've gotten a lot of the leadership training and skill that I need, sales training and skill that I need, culture, like the business stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still adding to that every day, every
Right.
single day,
Right.
because if I don't, somebody else is, and they'll
Right.
surpass me. And I,
Well, you
and
know
I
what it is. You know what it is once you get to a point where you are viewed as an expert, now you're looking for those little tidbits that you can drop, and people go, "Ooh, that's good." Right. And so I'll be watching YouTube videos or reading something or whatever. What I'm doing is I'm looking for a phrase or a word or something that impacts me, because I'm your average guy. And if it impacts me, then it's probably going to impact others. And then I steal it.
yeah, man, everything I got is stolen.
Everything.
No
Yeah,
doubt about
everything.
it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing new. It's just a new spin on it.
Correct.
And
Correct.
sometimes the way it's put together, like there's nothing new about how I perceive connecting with people,
No,
but I put
right.
a different spin on it so that it's easier to understand
Right.
whenever we
Right.
coach with our clients.
Sales is sales. Right.
Yeah.
And one sales guru might impact you more than another, and it's only because of their style or how they're they're not telling you anything different, really. And that's how you have to find the people that you resonate with.
Yeah, but don't discount the ones you don't, because there's golden nuggets in there too. There's been a
And
lot
you
of
got to look for those nuggets.
Yeah, there's been a lot of leadership people and salespeople along my path that, man, I could do without. They seem a
Yeah.
little bit hypey for me and that kind of thing. But boy, oh
Right.
boy, there was something there,
Well,
and I've made it a part of what I do because it was
right.
valuable.
Yeah. I tell people, don't let style diminish content.
That's
Right.
really good.
Yeah, because somebody might have a style that you don't really like, but if you stop focusing on how they're presenting and you start listening to what they're presenting, you might walk away with something really good.
That's so good. I think if like we wrap this all up into like one thing, a student of the game. When you stop being a student of the game, you die. Like it's just you plateau, you become complacent, you don't grow any further. Well,
Right.
you're capped now.
Yeah.
But when you're a student of the game, whether that be the leadership game, the sales game, the technical game, whatever
Right.
it is that you do, you're in this constant growth aspect of things.
Sure.
That sure is enjoyable. It's just
Well,
fun for me.
it absolutely is. It's a level of sophistication. And what I do hundreds and hundreds of business presentations a year to introduce what we're doing at Honest Water to plumbers and HVAC, service providers. And, there are leaders out there, owners, what have you, who don't engage us. There are even some who don't even want to talk to us. And what's interesting to me is I'm like, wow, what kind of business are you running where you don't want to look at a potential revenue generating opportunity?
Yeah, I'm with you on this because I'm the worst. Like I see potential in all things around me.
Right.
I get an email about something, I see a cool YouTube. Like I'm looking at how can I
I do
use
that
that thing?
too.
Chat GPT has been the worst thing ever created for Jim Johnson because I'm trying to figure it all out.
I
Right?
have it open right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and but that I look at that as personal growth. Like that
absolutely.
tool could be used for good or evil. I want to choose to go good with it.
Right.
I don't want to lose the human aspect of it. So I'm looking at it from a more observation aspect of things than from
Yeah.
an actual practical use thing, because I got
Yeah.
people for that.
Yeah.
But I want to ensure that we use it the right way with responsibility.
Right.
Man, this has been a great show. I know we are on a time limit here today. Guys, if you're looking at adding a product, or maybe you're in the water filtration or plumbing world, get with these guys. If nothing else, you're going to learn a lot. Uh,
Right.
Currie here is a fountain of information. Seems like we have some alignment on things. Usually, the guys I find that I have alignment with have a lot of experience. They've been down the road. They're
Yeah.
not the new guy on the block trying to make his way. They've kind
See,
of seen it and done it.
see all this wisdom on my face?
I shave mine off. Mine's gone off the top of my head. I just like it completely clean at this point. Uh,
No, it's been a joy. It's been a great conversation. I hope we get to do it again. We obviously share values and similar approaches to helping people, and I really appreciate it.
well, I've been thinking about putting together a bit of a retreat. So, not a whole lot of people, probably 20, 30 contractors.
Mhm.
If you'd like to come hang out, I think it'd be cool. I think you would enjoy it. I think you
Yeah.
gained from it, and I think they gain from you. Uh,
Absolutely open to that. I would love to meet people and go on a journey and see, because it's not just about me helping people, because they help me too. When
yeah,
I'm coaching, and I know it's the same with you. When you're coaching people, you walk away with stuff just like they do,
yeah.
and that's
I
part of
walked
the
away
fun.
with some stuff today. This has been really good.
Outstanding.
When you see me over here looking, I'm writing notes. I'm constantly in growth mode. I'm constantly looking like, hey, what's the golden nugget? This podcast has been uber valuable for me. I
I'm very
learn a
happy. I'm happy to
ton
hear
from
that.
all my guests. Like there's this little thing here and there all throughout every one of these podcasts. I can't think of a podcast that I haven't written something down.
Right.
I think everybody should have that type of joy about learning
Yeah.
and seeing as like I'm constantly improving. You
Yeah.
did a great job of sharing that with everybody today. I hope they
Thank you.
took that away and that they become students of the game and grow their businesses, grow their lives, achieve the things that they're after, the experiences they want. Any of my coaching is all about what is it that you're trying to get? What are you
Right.
trying to get? Like if I
Yeah.
can help you do that, if you can tell me that, I can build it backwards from there. It's
Yeah.
like any other goal.
You got to know the goal.
But if it revolves around money, I'm going to be like, well, that's just a tool. What are you going to do with it?
Right.
Like, what
Right.
does it
That's
get you?
that's just a variable. That's not a goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Currie, awesome stuff. I want to find out more about who is around me here. I'm between Austin and San Antonio, Texas, who does the water filtration thing
Okay.
because we've been looking at that. So
Sure.
for myself, I connect me with whoever's here and we'll have them come take a look.
I'll do that.
Those of you that are out there like thinking about it, go check them out. Also, if you're thinking about adding a product, we didn't really get a chance to talk about that. I wanted to. Maybe we can for just a minute or two if you still got a few minutes.
Sure.
Um, when adding a product line to your offering, what do you see as the challenges and what holds people back from being successful with it?
Well, psychologically, it's the fear of change, right?
Yeah.
Humans are habit beings, and so once we're in a groove, we don't want to deviate because we're afraid that we're going to throw everything out of whack. So the first is understanding that looking at a different service or a different product is what a sophisticated business owner should do all the time. Once you find something that might work, now you have to look at, okay, does it meet my requirements for my business? And does it, is it going to do what it says it's going to do? Will my team embrace it? Is it going to help my customers? All of these things. Once you find that thing, now it's just a matter of taking the steps to incorporate it. And those are mechanical steps.
Yeah, I'm always cautious in my coaching about adding something else because you can be very wide sometimes, but
Yeah.
no depth. And that's because you and I am. This is my coaching. You tell me if I should maybe think about things a little bit. But my coaching is perfect the first thing first. Like
Sure.
have that. Like it's running on its own. It's its own well-oiled
Right.
machine. Now I can dedicate time over here. But if I split my focus
Mhm.
because this over here still needs me and I still got to do my day to day with that, but now I got
Right.
this new thing, they're
Right.
both going to suffer. It seems like
Right.
to me. Do you
Because
see
you'll be
that?
distracted. That's not untrue. But here's what's interesting about water treatment. The reason the plumber's in the home is because water broke something. And when they fix what was broken, they're fixing the symptom.
Ah,
They're not fixing, and
the
and
root
so
cause.
yeah, so are you really doing that homeowner justice by not helping them prevent that from happening again? Right? And so
Sounds like some of my roofing guys. Like,
there's no
hey,
doubt.
yeah, you go and replace a roof, but how do you prevent that from never happening again? Is
You
there a
know,
different product, a different thing that will make it last longer, be more
make it
durable,
last
be less?
longer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's really good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a natural conversation. It seems like to me.
Well, the
Is
homeowner won't know. right? The homeowner won't know that they can look at something additionally that might help prevent this from happening to other pieces of equipment or what have you. And so, in our program, we really have created a program where it's one question. All we ask is, remember I said that the purpose of training is to change behavior? When they go through training with us, the only behavior we want them to change is to ask one question. When they're talking to the homeowner,
would you like this to never happen again?
believe it or not, it's close. When they're talking to the homeowner and saying, this widget is broken and I can fix it today. Would you like to know what caused this?
Oh, that's great.
Every homeowner says yes, because that's not an aggressive question in any way. It's not challenging. It's not, they'll go, yeah, why did that break? Or, why isn't it working anymore? And now the plumber is able to tell them water carries stuff. Yeah. And the stuff that it carries diminishes your equipment from functioning at peak performance.
I think people should really catch what you're saying there, because it's very natural for a plumber to water filtration. Like that's very natural. It's like a roofer to gutters. Very natural. Those two things work together.
Good analogy. Yes.
And so, like a painter, interior to exterior, those two things work together.
Right.
I think people, whenever they're thinking about a product line, should consider that if they're not fully 100% smooth as silk on the one area, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to add something and it's totally different than what you do, like I'm a plumber and I'm going to start doing fencing. That's not a natural conversation, right?
Right.
But I'm a plumber and I do sprinkler systems. That might be pretty natural.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. It's an over $4 billion industry.
Wow.
$4 billion. And believe it or not, water treatment companies there's probably like 5,000 or so different water treatment dealers in the country. There's over 500,000 plumbers. There's 500, 600, 700,000 plumbers. And water treatment has the majority of that $4 billion because plumbers just aren't bringing it up. But at the end of the day, we're educating the plumbers to say, hey, look, guys, you are actually not fulfilling your obligation of helping that homeowner if you don't tell them what caused the problem they're having.
Well, that's good. That's really good. Man, I like it because it's truly being a problem solver, a solution person, a servant to your client. And we preach that every day. You and I, man, we get along. This is good. I really enjoy it.
I've enjoyed it. Hey, what's the worst thing the homeowner can say? No.
Okay. No problem. I'll move on.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Currie, I'm sorry to keep you so long. Really appreciate you being patient there, but I thought that was a good piece to add in at the end. If people want to get a hold of you, it's honestwaterfilter.com, and they can get a hold of you directly at currie@honestwaterfilter.com. That'll be in the show notes and all that good stuff. Currie, thanks for being on Contractor Radio today.
It's my pleasure.
All right, man. We'll see you next time around.
Bye-bye.
Man, that was chock full of golden nuggets. We talked leadership, we talked training, we talked culture, we talked adding a product. Just amazing stuff. Obviously, an expert, a guy that's seen it, done it, been it. If you're going to look at other product lines, this would be something to maybe take a look at. And if nothing else, engagement. I want to bring Currie back in the future just because of his history, his experience, the discipline side of things. I'd love to talk to him about that part in the future. So if you took notes today, don't just take those notes and shove them in a drawer. Understand why those things were important. Do more digging, get deep in the things that you want to learn, add some personal growth to what you do every day. And last but not least, if you want to get better as a contractor, you like what you hear, you see some value in what we do to help contractors grow and scale their businesses, build these well-oiled machines that give them the personal and financial freedom to do what they want with who they want, when they want, and that interests you, check the show notes at the bottom. You'll see a link for our assessment, or go to our website, contractorcoachpro.com. Take that assessment, do a free coaching call with us. Learn if there's some value there, if you like coaching or not, and its application to what you do. If not, that's cool. At least we helped you out that day on that coaching call to move the needle a little bit more in your business. Thanks for joining us here on Contractor Radio, and we'll see you on the next episode.